All right, it's time for this week's edition of Rocky Talk here on RealAg Radio, brought to you by Rocky Mountain Equipment. Driving around over the last few days, seeing more and more fields of canola laying down in swath as swathing season has arrived or will be shortly across Western Canada. As part of this week's segment, we're going to focus on swather or windrower maintenance, servicing, and joining us on the phone now is Service Manager Joel Hoehn. And Joel, let's start with kind of the last-minute preparation for the busy swathing period. What are some recommendations or tips, advice you have for swather windrower operators?
Well, again, like I said before on my other segments, like if you have the opportunity and means, I'd have a certified Rocky technician take a look at that unit before you hit the field with it. But for those who don't have the time, number one, let's walk around that machine. Let's take a look at all the fluid levels. There's gearboxes behind the engine. There's final drives. Those old fluids should be changed yearly. Fuel filters, air filters, fan belts. Make sure your alternator is blown out. A lot of these machines run in dusty, dry conditions with fine plant material, so they're known for building up, debris inside that engine compartment. So make sure it's good and blown out. So again, change your engine oils, hydraulic oils. Make sure your filters are clean. That's the biggest thing with those machines. And a grease gun. Walk around that machine, make sure every grease nipple gets a good pump on her too.
What about in season? Once we are rolling with the swather or windrower, what are the main things on the list to check as we get into the day-to-day?
Well, day-to-day, you want to make sure, again, you're got that grease gun with you. You want to make sure that your knife drive is greased up. Your pintle arm steering controls are greased up underneath there. Giving them a pump daily also helps flush the dirt and debris out of these machines. The grease does a cleansing action as you use it as well. You also want to make sure air filters are clean, of course. You want to make sure there's no rips, tears in the canvases, and that's pretty much it with a windrower.
A little bit simpler than the combines that we talked about last week.
You betcha.
And I guess in terms of having parts on hand, filters, of course, would be on that list. You
bet. The other thing I'd probably have there, I'd have a patch kit for the canvases, and I'd have a couple extra sickle sections. There's different types, different kinds. Depending on the model of the machine, they have 3 different types of sickle blades on there. So you got to make sure you have the overlapping sections, the countersunk bolts. I'd have a couple of each of them. And, of course, some guards, too. If you hit a small rock or something, that if it breaks and pops, you're not stripping crop. You're putting it in your combine where it's supposed to be.
All right. Thanks for your time again, Joel. All the best with harvest.
All right. Same to you, Calvin. Have a good one.
Thank you. Joel Hoehn, Service Manager with Rocky Mountain Equipment, joining us this week for Rocky Talk. You can find them online at rockymtn.com, and if you're in Western Canada, contact your local Rocky Mountain Equipment dealer. RealAg Radio continues right after this.